Hello, I'm Morris Dimba. Welcome to this presentation. Today, I'm going to show you how to simplify your model by categorizing various parts of your model into phases. This will help you avoid at all times being thrown into fear of getting totally confused on how to create, control, and manage your shop drawings after doing all the work of modeling. And this will help you also to cut down on timelines to meet the project deadlines. When I say classifying your model into phases means classifying your model in phases of columns, rafter beams, tie beams, purlins, base plates, stiffeners, etc. This will make your work, and I repeat, will make your work a lot easier and simple. Please, let's get started here. And this came about by just double clicking on the icon of Tekla Structures on the desktop of my computer, and this default grid will come up. And out of this default grid, this is where you will double click on this, and the dialog box will come up where you will feed in your exact desired dimensions to come up with your desired structure or model. I'll do the same thing. I just double click on this default model. This will come up, and I have my own specified or specific dimensions I intend or I want to feed in here and come up with the appropriate structure of for myself, for my preference. And you can do the same for your own. So it's better you watch this than do the same thing to generate your own structure by implementing this approach of classifying your model into phases. And on the x-axis here, I'll feed my dimensions there. I need a 120 span, or I'll change that to 25 columns with an interval of 6 meters. And for the y-axis, I'll feed 8 columns, for the gable beams, with an interval of 5 meters interval. Now I'll go straight and start that. For the x-axis, I'll feed 25 columns with an interval of 6 meters. On the y-axis, I'll feed 8 columns with an interval of 5 meters. Then I have here on the z-axis the various heights that I will be dealing with in my structure or the model. My very first height will be 3 meters. That is 3 meters. Assume that exactly, yes. That is 3 meters. My next height should be 5 meters, and my very last height, my very second last height will be 7.5, and my final height will be 11 meters. That is the pitch height, 11 meters. I'll copy these heights and feed them here right away. I'll paste that and prefix them with a plus. I'll prefix this with the plus. Yes, feed in the plus sign in front of those heights to show the direction of your height, not neutral, not minus, negative. It's either negative or plus or positive. Now a label, under labels, I'm taking a step by step because I receive several people new to this channel, and they might pop up in one video and they might ask, some questions that that video can address. So I'm picking this from scratch to satisfy whoever that might bump on this being new, and you'll be able to grasp the maximum you require if you're new to Tekla structure. This is very important. Now under labels, I'll just go on with the grid labeling. I'll continue with 4 and 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 and 10. The rest will add as you go, and we have D, E, F, I, J and K. Just go on. I hope you're familiar with these alphabeticals. Just go on. Don't leave a very big space. It's not recommended. Just go on. That's all. That's enough. The rest will add as we go. And the line extensions here, these are the lines from the edge, from this end to that end. These are the line extensions. We can adjust these maybe to 5 meters or whichever dimensions of your preference. And having done that, you just go straight and click modify and click yes. Then we can close this. And if you zoom closer, you'll see a cube here. This cube defines our working area. So if we see it covering only this area, shows that our current working area is in between these 3 lines, which is not our intention. Our intention is to address all the issues regarding the entire grid. Now you might agree with me because I told you that the naming of the labels, other parts will be addressed as we go on. So the labeling names we fed in are less, and this we can address by coming back into it. And first of all, let's define our working area to be the entire grid. Now I'll just double click on this, and that is not the right dialog box I intend to receive. I'll just go back and right click, and this will come up. I'll go straight to feed work area to entire model. Now this will define the whole area as an active area to work on. Now I haven't completed the naming of the model, so we are remaining with this up to the very end. I'll continue naming the rest. So we have the RST, UVWX, and we'll add others. Just double click and you'll be prompted with these grid properties, and you'll be able to feed your grid labels. Now from here, I'll add the U. I'll just continue. I mean Z, and we'll have an A and B there, and B there, probably C there, and D there, and E there. Perfect. Just go ahead and modify that. Perfect. That is all about the grid creation and labeling. If you're new to this channel, I intend to start this from scratch to let you grasp everything from scratch. Now from here, we want to create the views. We have under view here, we have the view list. We can go to view list. When you click the view list, at the moment is empty. Reason being, we've not created the views. Now to create the views, just right click on the grid and come to create grid view and go along grid lines. You will click that. This creation of views and along grid lines properties will come up, and just go ahead and click create. The views will be created, and we'll be able to see that we have grid 1, grid 3, grid 6, and first of all we want to start working on grid 1 because all are similar. Grid 1, and we'll pick grid A. Perfect. And we'll go right away and close everything and close that. Now we have the 0 level as our lowest level. Then we go to 3, 5, 7 and 11. We'll go straight to now to walk through your views. You come to Windows here. On that drop down arrow, you'll be able to see your views. We have the 3D, we have the view 2, which is grid 1, and the view 3, which is grid A. We want to go to isometric view first. We'll come to steel. We pick steel, the steel column. Place our column there. This our column, but our column just running deep into the ground, which is not the best way. We intend to address this. And if you notice, we've just jumped a step higher, which is not right. I'll delete these. First of all, I want to create the footing pads and categorize them as footing pad. Now I'll come to concrete here. I'll come to footing. I'll click pad footing and just snap it there. I'll click expand it. I'll zoom closer. After interrupting that or disabling that pad footing command, double click on it to change all these dimensions and feed in your preferred dimensions. I'll change this to 1 meter by 1 meter, 1 meter by 1 meter. I'll change this to 1 meter. The depth of our pad footing, put it 1 meter, and the top is 0. Just go ahead and click modify, apply and accept. Perfect. Now we have this. We'll click that, right click and click copy from that spot to that spot, and that is a bit time consuming. We'll do this. Just click on it, right click and click special copy and go to linear. Before invoking any command, you must have first of all check the orientation of the X and Y axis. We want to populate these along the Y axis, but in what direction? We'll feed this 5 meters. And how many do you want? We want 7 of them because we already have one here. That makes it 8. And just go ahead and click copy. Click OK. Now I'll undo that because I want to just to create the faces right away from the pad footing. I'll come to drawing and reports. I'll go to faces. In faces, I'll be able to add faces. I'll come to that. I'll click add face. Into that, I'll change this to pad footing. Pad footing, like that. Pad footing, and make this current. I'll make it current. Now, after clicking on this, I'll go to object face. I'll click on object face and click on that. And click accept. If I go back to faces and click that, and click footing and click object by face, this one should be highlighted, but what I'm seeing is not right. I'll click on this and click this by face. And click modify, accept. Let's wait. So if I come to face and come and pick pad footing and click by face, I'll be able, this one should be highlighting as face. I'll just go ahead and click OK. Now from here, I'll right click and come to linear. I'll click that, then populate this along the y-axis. Perfect. I'll click OK, right click and click interrupt. Now I want to populate this the same way I've done on this end. I'll just press Control and click on that, and I'll right click and click, and I will right click and come to special copy linear. I want to populate this along the x-axis, but with a negative prefix, which means it's going the opposite way of the normal direction of the x-axis. Now I'll feed here 6 meters, negative 6 meters, right there. How many I intend to feed in? I need several of these. I need 25. I need 24. I mean, because we have already we have one already here that add up to 25. Then I'll just go ahead and click copy and click OK. Perfect. There we are. Now I'll do the same thing here. I'll click on this, right click, and come to linear. Then from linear, I'll be able to feed 5 meters. I'll change this to 0 and come to y-axis here and feed my 5 meters interval. And how many do you want? You want 4. We want 6 because we have 2 already. Then I just go ahead and click copy and accept that. Right click and move a step. Now having done that, now you have your pad footings ready. Your pad footings are ready here. Now if I go to faces, I want to classify this as pad footings. So even if I run one pad footing with the rebars, that this one will be similar to all this. So I'll be able to run one pad footing with the rebars inside and give the people concerned to do the part of rebar bending from just one pad footing drawing. Now from here to confirm the classification with the classification under faces, I'll come to faces. Now under my pad footing and click that, and come to objects by faces. I'll click that and everything will be selected under pad footing. Now everything is under pad footing, and just click OK and click on an empty screen. I'll come up again. I'll come to faces and click on the pad footing, and I want to identify those parts by faces. I'll click the face as I have classified as my pad footing in the model. I'll click, I want to see the pad footing in this model. I'll just click objects by faces. Everything will be highlighted here, and if I bring it closer, you'll be able to see that all the pad footings have been highlighted under category of pad footing. I'll close this, or I'll just give an OK that indeed they have been classified under pad footing. Now from here, I'll go to columns. I will go to columns. Under columns, I'll go straight to steel. I'll go to steel beam. I'll snap on top of that. I'll right click and disable that column command. Now I want to modify the size and the orientation of this column. I'll just double click on it and go straight to column properties, where I'll get my preferred column size and probably orientate it to the direction of my preference. This is very important, and this is the reason why I'm doing this from scratch, because if you're new to this channel and you bump for the first time on this video, you'll be able to get everything from scratch and be able to learn this. That is my intention, and that will be much better at my end. Now having double clicked on this column, and these column properties have come up, I want to change the size of this column and orientation. I mean the rotation of this beam to direction of my preference. Now I'll come to profile and the attributes under column properties. I'll click that. Under this, my preferred column size is this. It's still loading. Now I'll go straight to columns, universal columns or universal beams. I'll be able to pick this. 191 and 74 or that. Perfect. Now I'll just go ahead and click apply and accept. I'll apply here and accept that, but the orientation is not right with me. What I'm going to do, I'll go to position and come to rotation under position and give it that orientation. I'll apply and accept. Apply and accept. That's it. Now from here, today we want to place the columns and the pad footing. Then the next presentation will be working on the rafter beams and make it and castellate those rafter beams. Now If I switch to my grid A view, I might not be able to see that the column we've just placed, because we've placed that column on the very last view, on the very last grid. Now we'll place this on our grid. We'll bring on our grid B. Now under view, we'll come to view list and we'll scroll down to our grid B and bring it to picture. We'll accept that, and now we can see our column is here, but it's slightly out. It's slightly below our required height. It is 75, it's 74 by 50, 7450. How much do we require? We need 50 to make it that high. We come to position and we will feed here. This should be 0, 0 level. Bottom should be 0, 0 level. And this should be 75. Click that and accept, apply, and go on. And click OK. Now, having done that, we want to copy this here. Select on it and right click and click copy, and just pick it from that bottom end, bring it to this end, bring it to that end, right click and interrupt that to disable that copy command that is active. Now I'll go back to isometric view under window. You'll find yourself having created two columns here, and we want to classify these as columns. Now I'll go back to my drawing and reports and come to faces there, and under pad footing I want to add another category that we'll now call columns. And we'll go to object by faces. We'll click that, press Ctrl and click that, and come to object by faces. Click that, click OK. Let's come back to it. Click that, press Ctrl and click that, and click object by faces. Click OK. Come back again to confirm that what I've just made a mistake, and they have been classified under pad footing, which is not right. Now I want to make this current. After selecting the columns, I'll come to set this as current. I'll click on the columns and click on that, pick that, and press Ctrl and pick that. Then come to object by faces, click OK. If you do that, come to columns, it's not actually responding, and this should work for us. Select that and select this and object by face. Now object by face under columns, the under pad footing, which is not right because I didn't change this to current. Now What I want to do is to remove them from that category under pad footing and columns. What I'm going to do is to just accept, give it an OK, then come back to faces. I'll click on faces. I'll come to columns, select this, press Ctrl, select this and that, and come here and modify the face. Let's wait for it to reload. We'll click modify and click OK. Click on an empty screen and let's come back to face. Click on face, then come back to columns and click face. They're now under columns, they're not now under pad footing. Just go ahead and click OK. Then columns having been selected like that, you want to populate them along the x-axis. Just right click and come to special copy and linear. Now under x-axis, we no longer have any work to do with y-axis. We just change it to 0 and feed our interval measurements here. And how many do we want? We want 24 of these at an interval of 6 meters. But what direction? Is negative direction. Now I'll just go ahead and click copy and wait. Just click accept that, and if you zoom closer, you will see we've placed the columns. All the populated beams. Now if I go to reports and come to faces and click columns, I want that by face. I'll be able to see the columns. If I want the pad footing, I'll be able to see pad footing. Thanks a lot for watching this video, and let's meet on lesson 2 or presentation 2, where we'll be discussing other ways of classifying your model into faces. Thanks a lot for watching this video. I'm your presenter, Maurice Dimba, and bye bye.